Hey, look who I found at Scott Pilecki from Rocky Mountain Bicycles. Scott, you guys have got a pretty great line.
Yeah, we do, absolutely. We've pretty stacked line this year. We're looking at 2014 bikes right now. So what we have in front of us here is an Altitude 770 MSL Rally Edition. So Altitude last year was certainly our most popular bike. We were one of the first companies to come out with a 27.5, or some people know it as 650B wheel bike. And this year is kind of an example of what you can do with an Altitude. We've got a lot of people talking about endurance racing these days, but then the strong point of this bike is really enduro racing. So that's coming on strong, right?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we had an Enduro Cup here just not too long ago in Park City.
Right.
So this would have been the bike to be on.
This would have been the bike to be on. What we're looking at on this bike from a regular Altitude is it's a 150 mil bike. We're using a 160 mil Fox 34 up front to give you a little more ample travel up front, slacken the head angle out. We've also got a Fox Floatex rear shock, which really helps maintain the suspension on long descents. And then we've beefed up the bike with a full width 785 race face downhill width handlebar, short stem. We've got the essential for enduro Reverb Stealth dropper post. And we've set this bike up with a chain guide up front because these guys are making their way to the top, but really concerned about chain retention on the way down.
Now this travel on the back, is it counter-rotating?
Counter-rotating? No, it's not counter-rotating. What we have is a 4-bar linkage design. We call this smooth link, and the emphasis on this design is that your dropout pivot here is above the rear axle, and the chain maintains a chain line that's balanced with the chainstay line there. So you've basically got no ability under chain torque for that rear swing arm to compress under pedaling performance.
So I'm definitely not going to lose any of my strength in just the bounce of that rear wheel.
That's right. And then we've also made sure for these guys, since they're performance race athletes, there's a CTD lever on the handlebar. So if you hit a climbing section and you need it to be firmer right away, you can do that. And you get to the top, you're going to drop your reverb, hit that back into descend mode, and you're ready to charge down the trail.
You know what we call that in auto racing, right?
What is that?
That's the passing button.
Yeah, if there was a passing button on this thing, that's what it would be.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about this right here.
Yeah, this is a bike that we've had in the lineup, and we've had a strong cross-country race background over the years, and Element has always been that bike for us. So this highlights the Element line with our top-end model here, Element 999 RSL. So this is a full carbon fiber frame. One thing that we like is that throughout our lineups, when we offer a carbon frame and it trickles down models and price points, that it's the same carbon fiber used in the top model. So if you were to not maybe be able to afford the 999 model and you were looking at a 970 or a 950 below that, you'd still be getting that same caliber of carbon fiber throughout.
Yeah, so I'm not giving up anything in the carbon or in the weight. So what's the difference that I am?
Well, what you are seeing are varying price points, so different component spec. On this, highlight all the top quality components on this bike. So it also gets a carbon fiber seat post for weight savings, carbon fiber handlebar, carbon fiber crown on this SID World Cup. And one of the new things on this bike this year is we've got a RockShox suspension front and rear, and it has this full sprint lockout. So one press of this button will lock out your front and rear suspension at the same time for those guys that are really in race mode, full sprint. So there's your passing button.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's not even that's an extra gear is what that is.
This bike is 22 pounds with tubes, all set up, standard specs.
Excellent. And then down here, what have we got?
This is a bike we're really excited about this year. This is an Instinct MSL, so full carbon frame on this bike. And this is our top model again. This is a 999 Instinct. So full carbon frame, features high-end component spec throughout, carbon fiber handlebar, 750 width. We've got an XX1 drivetrain. A lot of talk about this, so single gear up front, 11 speeds in the back, chain management systems designed into this wide and narrow tooth pattern on the front chainring. So we felt that this bike could best use this bike because it's this drivetrain because it's one of our most versatile bikes in the lineup. It also features a really cool product that we use on also the Altitude as well as this Instinct model. It's called Ride 9. So you basically have 9 different options that adjust geometry as well as suspension rate. So right here it's set up in a neutral setting. You can set it up so that shock pin is more forward. It gives you a slacker geometry, lower bottom bracket, and a more progressive suspension rate for people really pushing the bike. For people that want more ground clearance and a more upright suspension for climbing, they can put that further back. And then up and down, it caters to rider weights, lighter as we go higher, heavier as we go lower. So it's a really wide selection of tuning the bike to the person's preferences.
Now, I know you guys are the experts in carbon because you've been in it so long, but that brings up a question that a lot of people ask, and that's about impact strength with carbon fiber. Have you guys done anything special to get more strength out of them?
Yeah, let me just grab a sample here. Now, we emphasize in our carbon fiber, we use what we call smooth wall, and you'll see when you get a cutaway like this, how smooth the internal structure is. So a lot of people look on the outside of a carbon frame like, how beautiful is that? It's all fluid, and we like to see the same thing on the insides. Really what it is about is having ultimate compaction. You can see in this area where there's a heavy amount of carbon fiber, there's no air pockets, there's no excess resin in here, and those are all things that add weight but don't add any strength to the carbon fiber. So really, the stronger this is the tighter or more compressed this is. So we really want to focus on a really good outside shape, and the outside form will give you a good solid shape, and that'll be where a lot of the frame frame strength comes from. And then really having this so that it's ultimately dense and there's no added material adding to the weight. So this is our smooth wall carbon fiber, and that's what we use to give a really strong frame and a frame that's going to be strong down the line against rock chips and any impacts.
So where do we find your Rocky Mountain bicycles? What's the website?
You're going to like this, bikes.com. So
how about that one?
Yes.com. And when you've been making bikes since the early 80s, then you can own a website like that.
That's a great one, bikes.com. All right, thanks.
Bikes.com.